I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. What's up, world? Welcome to this special edition of I Mix What I Like, not live this time. Again, I'm Jared Ball, very happy to be your host. Welcome again, of course, back to Black Power Media. And please continue to like, share, subscribe, continue to consider at least joining the channel and supporting our Patreon. You can go to blackpowermedia.org for more. We are still inviting potential shows and hosts to join us and to continue to round out our already 7-day-a-week schedule. So if you go to blackpowermedia.org and are interested, you can fill out a form there and let us know what kind of show you'd like to bring our way. And we'll see about bringing you on. Please, of course, stick around. Later tonight will be Renegade Culture, and then into the weekend, we're going to have another Warrior class, and then I'll be back live on Monday with a very special show yet again. But today, in a pre-recorded special, I want to first start off by wishing a very happy 74th birthday to Assata Shakur. And wish her continued health and strength, and wish her the best to her and her family, and thank her for all that she has done and continues to do in guiding and supporting and inspiring and teaching us and laying down a standard that I think we need to continue to try to live up to. So happy birthday, Assata Shakur, and many, many, many more. And thanks again to the Cuban Revolution for supporting her and others like her, where we know in this country they continue to hunt and raise her bounty. Anyway, so while folks are wanting to say on the one hand that they want to claim to support democracy and the will of the people, as they in a quite scandalous and hypocritical way, support, quote unquote, the protests in Cuba, while denying the aspirations of the many more hundreds of thousands that protest in the streets here and have much less offered them here in relation to what is accumulated here. We want to point that out, that Assata is welcome there and was hunted, imprisoned, and tortured here. And her comrade Zaid was killed, and her comrade Sundiata Akoli remains imprisoned, as does Mumia Abu Jamal, Mutulu Shakur, Leonard Peltier, and countless, unfortunately, still too many more who are aging and in need of release and freedom and much more of our support. So as we continue to do that here, please continue to support our efforts to continue to support them. All right, that said, very special show today. So last week it was, or earlier this week, recently did a show with my man Too Black, another episode of my favorite special, I Mix What I Like, the Too Black and Not Black Enough segments, on the mythology and fantasies promoted regarding cryptocurrency. And got some interesting responses, most of them positive. And one of them is the kind of favorite response that I like to get. One of them was a message sent to me saying, hey, I saw that you were talking about this. Here's something I wrote on the subject that might, interest you. So I love when people do that. And not only did she do that, but what she wrote blew my mind. So I very much want to continue to learn a little bit more about what she's saying and how it relates to what I'm trying to argue, and how it helps really the entire African diaspora. So the person I'm speaking of is, of course, Sebs Solomon, who, among many other things, is an independent observer of phenomenons around the world. and blogs on Medium under SolarTsunami. She's also part of HOA PALS, or Horn of Africa Pan-Africanists for Liberation and Solidarity, a member organization of both Black Alliance for Peace and the steering committee of, and is on the steering committee of BAP's U.S. Out of Africa network. So Seb Solomon, welcome to the program. Thank you again for joining me and us, and good day to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So again, as I said in the intro, thank you for not only writing what you've written, but reaching out and sharing it. And I really appreciate when people do that. And I learned a lot. So as I said off air, what I'd like to do is start with your conclusion and sort of, in a way, paraphrase. You can obviously, we'll get to the context that you we're working with here, the specifics. Mm-hmm. But for me, as I'm reading it, the context is because your conclusion starts with this comment is indicative of. Mm-hmm. So this comment for me is reflective of the many who would argue on a variety of levels, anything from Black people have buying power that they can use, and if they had greater financial literacy, or we can invest in Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrency and build our way out of and invest our way out of the inequality that we have. Anyway, so as I'm reading that's the these or those or those are the these or this comment that I'm thinking of here when you write in your conclusion that this comment is indicative of someone who does not understand the repercussions of hundreds of years of colonialism, intentional underdevelopment, neoliberal policies, inhumane austerity, and corruption from within and outside these nations or the nations. Mm-hmm. If he cannot comprehend, or if the person commenting in this way cannot comprehend and recognize these factors, they are in no position to be part of the solution. And as you say here specifically, Cardano blockchain is a threat rather than a tool for liberation. So if we could just start with that conclusion.
Yes.
Why is what you've just concluded with there important before we even begin this conversation about blockchain and cryptocurrency, the many nations throughout Africa that you're talking about in the piece that we're going to look at here, and so on? But please, if you could start with that.
So that is the most important part of it, because for some reason they think that the reason why the African countries are in the states that they're in right now is because they haven't been able to globalize effectively.
Right.
So this is what this gentleman, Charles Hoskinson, is saying, and it's such a farce. Clearly he doesn't understand a lot of these things that you just said, as far as the colonialism, the neoliberal policies, the austerity, all of that, and just to think that, we just need to bank the unbanked and have a different currency, and that'll fix the problem. It's a pipe dream, and I think that anyone who views it in that way or views the problem in that way is not fit to be a part of the solution, and that's so problematic because Cardano is involved in so many countries in Africa now, whether it be putting 5 million kids on blockchain in Ethiopia, or the digital identity in Tanzania. So it's just
so let me reset this way, because your essay is titled Blockchain: Proof of Work versus Proof of Stake. Yes. So if you could just take us through this a little bit, because to get to the point that you were just alluding to, this relationship that these companies have. Let's start with some of the basics here. What does proof of work and proof of stake mean? And even some of the basics, I think it's even important, if you wouldn't mind, to start with even some of the basics on what blockchain is, how it works, and then explain what these companies are promising versus what is actually going on when they get involved with African people.
Sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump ship.
No. I did. I started us all out of order with your conclusion. No, I'm excited. I'm all amped up. Like,
about it,
absolutely, no questions. So that's why I'm saying that for both of us, let's take a breath and let's walk it. Because honestly, because as I'm trying to catch up to it, and even reading your essay, I mean, there's so many things that I don't fully understand that I have to imagine many others don't fully understand, and I know is not being accounted for in the mass of propaganda hitting people about these issues. So
yes, I would definitely recommend people watch some of the work that Alison McDowell has been doing on this matter. She's definitely one of the people that has opened my eyes to what this is. And I can share some links with you later.
Absolutely, let's do that, and we'll make sure they're in the show description. Absolutely, and I'll do some homework too. Yeah, absolutely.
So basically, the difference between when you're talking about blockchain, it's good to make that distinction of what proof of work is and what proof of stake is. Just because because if you come at it as as a crypto hater, whatever,
right,
they'll stop listening to you. So it's like to make that distinction. So essentially, proof of work is what Bitcoin started as, or what Bitcoin is, and what like Monero and Pirate Chain, and it's basically it's got layers of protection behind it, and it's super encrypted. It's essentially like what's the best way to describe it? So basically, the proof of stake is the one that Cardano is, right? So it's basically like it depends on how much of the cryptocurrency you have in order for you to how much of the cryptocurrency that a node or like the validator has in order for you that you already own in order for you to pretty much mine the Bitcoin. Well, they call them validators essentially, but it's similar to what a Bitcoin miner would be. So I guess that's the technical. And
it's just it's not even, if I'm not mistaken, it's not even necessarily a person. It's a computer that is assessing that you actually have this coin, because this is all digital currency that we're talking about here. So people aren't handing a dollar bill to someone and that someone can then see is whatever it's supposed to represent, and therefore. But it's a way of saying because all this is supposed to be anonymous, which is what blockchain is supposed to allow for. So to prove that what you're handing someone is legitimate and actually a quote unquote coin or a piece of currency, you need these proofs of stake and
the proof. Yeah, so the proof of work. Exactly. So basically. The whole point of it is it's supposed to be super encrypted and private, right? So with the proof of work, they have layers of protection as far as the Monero or the Pirate Chain. Bitcoin, not as much, but there's layers, whether it be the ZK snarks, which is basically saying only you and the person that you're doing the transaction with will have evidence that it happened. So there is no if you really tried, I guess you could still hack it, but there is no back end protocol or anything that's going to extract this data to do something else. Whereas with the proof of stake, it literally MIT developed it's called the Enigma protocol, where essentially they can grab the information that's in the blockchain or in the transactions that you do for companies like Cardano, and they can use that information to fuel the speculative, social impact markets. That there's a new stream of revenue that they started. I mean, a decade ago. But Bloomberg, Michael Bloomberg, is a huge part of that as well. So essentially, they need that data in order for them to fuel these markets, because without the data, then they don't have the information, and then they don't have anything for their investors.
Right. Yes. So just so that I'm clear.
Yes.
Bitcoin has less security, allowing for more possibility for people who are transacting in it to have those transactions or the data from those transactions extracted and sold.
Yes. It's just less secure.
That's what I mean. They have more. It's more likely than others, or it's not as secure as people think, and or it's so that's one of the. I'm sorry.
It's more susceptible to hacking and stuff as well. It's not as secure. Yeah. So it's just easier to extract things from that blockchain.
And that would include not only who's doing it, but what's being purchased, so that all, marketers, advertisers, or states, intelligence agencies, or police agencies.
Everything's on the ledger, right?
Everything's on the ledger. Right. Exactly. Okay.
Everything's on the ledger.
Okay. So please say anything else that you want to say about that. But I always risk when I feel like I've hit a level of clarity that I want to, if I go too far, I'll get unclear again. So I'm ready to move on. No, I'm just playing.
I think it's good. I think it's just good to make that distinction so people aren't coming at you like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know the difference between this and that. And like, this is this and this is that. So it's just better to be like, okay, like I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm not a crypto hater. I'm just trying to understand like what this is, because it's being sold as some like sort of liberation, for especially specifically in Africa. It is like all over the place. It's being sold as this like, your government's corrupt. Like you can like let the private companies come in and put your government to the side and we'll help you. We'll give you a bank. Like you can use our currency. You don't need your national currency. Not that many already have them anyway. Like most of Africa is like either under France, England, IMF and all that. So it's just like another way to exploit, but it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing is kind of what I'm seeing as far as Cardano and the proof of stake is involved. And it is very much related to the new stakeholder capitalism that's like coming on with this fourth industrial revolution and stakeholder capitalism, right?
So when you say when you write rather that the goal of the Cardano team isn't to overhaul the entire financial system.
Yes.
Their aim is to use blockchain technology to bring banking systems to places where they've previously been too expensive to implement, specifically the so-called the developing world. I can't help but add the so-called part, but end quote. So first, explain who Cardano is. And then what is it obviously behind or add on to what it is that I just read from there that is their goal here with the blockchain technology. And then you're saying that because they are proof of stake, that Cardano is itself a cryptocurrency that is more encrypted than Bitcoin. Is that the
No, it's a proof of stake. So Cardano is proof of stake, whereas Bitcoin is still proof of work. Same with Ethereum. I think people use Ethereum a lot too. That's proof of work. However, they are moving to proof of stake within a year with the Ethereum 2.0.
Which again is the more encrypted.
Yes, and get that. So the guy who actually founded Cardano, he was a part of Ethereum first, and then I guess they had like a splitting, so he moved over to or made Cardano. So they're very much related.
So one question, and I just want to table this and I don't even know if this is for you necessarily. I just want to throw this out there. One question is if you were involved with Ethereum and were at least at the time theoretically believing that as a cryptocurrency could become the dominant currency that people should invest in and change the world, how then, or what level of break would have been required? I got to learn more that would lead you then to leave there, create something brand new, and then start encouraging people believe that it could be what would then change. So it's hard to.
It's shady.
It's shady to me. That's how I started looking at it. So I, to your point, like I start as the crypto hater because I'm looking at things at their conclusions before I even delve into and I'm looking at, so first of all, currency isn't about redistribution or political power. Yeah. So automatically it doesn't check any boxes for me as revolutionary. And then when I start to look at all the speculation and the investment and all of the big banks that are involved, I get even more skeptical. And I'm thinking, how in the world could this then be investing our way to freedom? Then I'm reading from your work and not knowing about almost any of this, particularly the details as we're going to continue to get to throughout the African continent that you write about. And I'm thinking this can't possibly be. Like even more. So I did it at some point. If there's anything that in the video you saw from us last time that you thought needed to be checked, please do as we walk through this. But that's anyway where I'm starting from. But,
I think it really maybe like it started out as like a good thing. Like okay, people wanted encryption, like just they wanted more privacy, and so I think maybe it started out like in in an innocent way, or in like in a way that really was meant to be what they're saying it is. You know what I mean? So I think maybe
like Mark Zuckerberg just wanted to demean women initially. He just wanted to be mean and demean women, and now it's become the NSA state of Facebook. Anyway,
literally. I think they tried, but yeah.
So again, I'm sorry, I keep it. But who? So Cardano is who? And then you sort of explain who they are, and then you're saying that they're coming in to the continent of Africa. And tell us more about what it is that they're doing and what their claims are with blockchain and crypto.
Okay, so basically, I think it was a few months ago, Cardano signed or they got together with the government of Ethiopia, and they registered 5 million kids into the Cardano blockchain network, which is also related to Singularity Net, which I don't know if you've heard about, but that's a Ben Goertzel. He's this guy who's has relations to Jeffrey Epstein. So
because you write about wrote about that in here, right? Yeah,
I did.
That's why the name. Yes.
No, it's okay. So basically, UNICEF Innovation Fund, right? They teamed up with Singularity University, and which is with Disney and the government of Denmark. And Goertzel is an advisor at Singularity University, and he's also an advisor at ICOG Labs, which is located in Sheba Valley in Ethiopia. And that ICOG Lab is part of the OpenCog foundation, which was founded by Jeffrey Epstein. So essentially, the data of the 5 million kids, the Ethiopian children, would be registered under the Cardano blockchain, which is merged with Singularity Net, which will help serve the intelligence, essentially, of the robots developed in labs funded by Jeffrey Epstein.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I want to share the quote that you wrote from what you wrote, and people have to forgive me because I had to copy and paste the text because in your post that we'll have linked, it's that the white text on a black background gives me a headache. I don't know whatever that I don't know why that is or what that's all about, but so I had to copy and paste it. But as you said here, in addition, the Jeffrey Epstein the Fourth Foundation helped fund the OpenCog AI lab in Sedist Kilo, am I saying that correctly? Ethiopia, the same OpenCog associated with Ben Goertzel, who you've just described, and ICOG Labs. The data of 5 million Ethiopian children registered to the Cardano blockchain, which merged with Singularity Net, will help serve the intelligence of robots developed in labs funded and operated by people linked with Jeffrey Epstein, a convicted pedophile. Any healthy and critically thinking person who sees these connections should be outraged and alarmed.
They should be.
I mean, it's I hate to say it this way, but it's constantly, reading these things, learning these things. It makes it harder to walk away from some of the prevalent or prevailing quote unquote conspiracies about international sex rings and children. Because this stuff is crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy. And then of course, specifically with Ethiopia, and all these Ethiopia in particular, also Kenya, Rwanda, are very much entrenched with these Silicon Valley people, right? But then you look at the countries, and what they have in common is they've essentially been vassal states, as far for nefarious Western forces or what have you. So it's no surprise that it's happening in full force in these places, and it's also no surprise that Abiy Ahmed, the president of Ethiopia, that was selected 2 years ago by the delegation, he's a trained cryptographer, and he was the head of the Ministry of Science and Technology. He was the founding director of Information Network Security Agency, and he was the head of the Science and Technology Center in Ethiopia. So it's this guy is completely in the agenda. He's a part of it. He is.
And that's so wild. So we'll put the link below as well. But when you were just with us the other day talking about the Horn of Africa and all that's going on in Tigray and all of this and all that Abby is getting wrong. This huge, problem didn't even come up, given all that he is doing. I mean, there's so many things happening that is a mess, right now. But this is an important piece. So when I read your article here, and I'm saying, dang, we were just talking about him. I didn't know he had been, I didn't know he had this technological background or was involved with anything like this on this level. I didn't know anything about this. So, but again, but Cardano. So again, just to be clear, Cardano was promising Ethiopians that I'll say it this way, to help Ethiopia out of its material inequality. Cardano was going to help introduce more banking, more highly encrypted new currency, and that this is going
their health as well, like to put their health, their education, all of that into the blockchain, into the Cardano blockchain. So essentially,
which will protect all of its information is the point. Their promise is at least to protect in a highly encrypted way, free from government and free from corruption and free. Okay. And that this is, wow. So it's not a promise to actually give people more increased, improved healthcare. It's just meant to protect all of the healthcare provided in its blockchain.
To get your information and put it in the blockchain for them to use it, to feed it to their AI. And that's going to essentially feed it to the robots to get the singularity thing. It's kind of a pipe dream. It's like pretty ridiculous, but it's also at the same time, like that's a lot of control over a population. Like if you're going to control their banking, and Cardano was also in their agribusiness or agritech as well. I think 2 years ago, there was like coffee beans or something. They were doing like supply chain tracking in Ethiopia, and it was done through Cardano.
So again, whatever the origins, whatever the people who originally put all this crypto stuff together, whatever their intent was, am I hearing you again correctly that we could say that this is actually another way just to get people's data? That this is just another way, like when Google gives out free cell phones, or we're given we're encouraged to the social media applications. This is just another, but this is the new way to get people to give up their data.
Exactly.
Is to promise we're going to protect it in blockchain and with cryptocurrencies that are going to offer you a revolution. Damn.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's in Tanzania, Cardano just signed with the new president of Tanzania, right? Because the Magufuli died mysterious. I mean, they said it was COVID or something. We don't really know. But he had suddenly died back in, I think, March or a little bit before that. So the new lady, she's kind of, I think she's part of like the World Economic Forum and all that stuff. And she's been undoing a lot of the regulations that he had as well. That were, I'm not saying that he wasn't a part of the agenda either, because he had a lot of issues. But I think that she's kind of accelerating it, because she's telling her central banks to make cryptocurrencies like a legal tender, like Bitcoin and stuff. She's kind of pushing that. So she's totally on board with that agenda. And then Cardano specifically.
And I'm sorry again, I have to interrupt. I forgive this interruption again. But when politicians or others push the idea that the currency could become legal tender, it's not necessarily so that it would become legal tender as much as it would boost the immediate stock value of those who have already invested because of the promise that it will become legal tender. So when you say pipe dream, I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah.
Or would you?
Exactly. Because El Salvador just did that, right? El Salvador just legalized or made Bitcoin a legal tender as well. And I can get into the South America stuff shortly.
Yes.
It's like, because it's El Salvador, Paraguay, and even Brazil,
you had
Mexico,
Panama in there.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta shout out my Panamanian family. And I got so many in-laws and stuff, man. We got family like pushing this, and they're like, we got to get involved and we can do this. And I'm like, man,
I don't know. Like, let's look at this. let's look at this slowly. Like,
and also don't let me forget. We can go here now, but you also say something very important about education and virtual reality that's all caught up in this as well, as part of these promises
Yes.
So I just want to make sure,
Definitely.
I do have notes here and stuff, but I also
I
forget
highlighted some of the stuff that I wanted to talk about as well. So I got
beautiful.
I had that on there as well. So what I was saying was,
Sure.
so Cardano, like right after the Ethiopia, like putting those kids on blockchain, then they went to Tanzania and with the new president, and they're pretty much going to be building an infrastructure that's going to bring sustainable internet connectivity with digital ID to 100,000 people in Zanzibar and mainland Tanzania. So they're promising these people sustainable internet if they'll put themselves on this the Cardano blockchain and pretty much put all their just all their data as far as health, education, their biometrics, everything. Right.
But don't forget the PR line that you put in your essay here, because remember, they're partnered with Save the Children to explore the benefits of digital currency on their humanitarian initiatives in East Africa. Yep. Yay!
Because they're in Rwanda too with Save the Children. And they're in with digital healthcare as well as the gig economy and the gig economy, but with coding. So it's they have these refugees doing this sweatshop coding essentially
they're learning a trade. They're learning a valuable. They can
learning how to build their own prison. It's suffocating when you think about it, because it's why all of a sudden would all these people who have pretty much put us in this situation that we're already in now be the ones to liberate anybody?
But that was so long ago. That's what everybody keeps saying.
It's changed.
It's changed, and we're now freer. We have all of this liberation, so now we can invest. Yeah. And to my little wing of the argument, we have all this buying power. If we just used it to invest in crypto, we could get free. So I mean, I even I was
going to say, Gertzel even says, I had the quote. It was he basically just doesn't believe that Africa won't ever get a chance to leverage their economy for cheaper labor by being able to provide jobs, develop their manufacturing industries, the way that China and India did, right? Because all those jobs are essentially going to be done by the AI eventually in the Northern Hemisphere. So he was saying so Africans they can instead, so Africans via Singularity Net can learn to code and maintain the AI that the developed world will soon run on.
Wow.
Ben Gertzel said this.
But
straight up.
I know. But it's just that, but when they use phrases like you have in here, community investing, stakeholder capitalism, and all these other euphemisms for the brutality and I could even believe that in their twisted mind state, they believe that they are actually doing the right thing. They feel like they're solving a problem. Africa can't do what China did. The AI is going to do it. So I'm going to provide them because it never occurs to them. Certainly they wouldn't admit it if they did, wouldn't act on it if they did. It never occurs to them that various forms of liberation should actually occur. That if African people control their own resources and labor and wealth, do whatever they wanted themselves. But no,
grassroots from Silicon Valley, really?
No, they'll come in.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just it's so bad, to the point where you don't even have to be literate. They have gestural coding. So you don't even have to be able to read or write in order to do it. You can just nod your head and do gestures in order to sort these or fix solve these algorithms or whatever and help them code whatever. I don't understand the technicalities of it, but I just think it's weird that they're oh, you don't even need to learn how to read or write. You could look, we have gestural coding.
Gestural coding.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I
mean, they're piloting it in Nigeria right now.
Well, listen. So, oh my God,
I know it's really dark. It's so dark. It's really dark. It's basically the Cardano blockchain, the mechanism itself is a data extraction operation under the guise of oh, we're trying to digitize
and again
humanitarian sector.
And Cardano, again, is at a higher encrypted level than the more popularly used and promoted Bitcoin. Is that what didn't I understand you to say that Cardano was?
It's less encrypted. So the ones that are like more encrypted are the ones that are not in the mainstream. So like Pirate Chain or Monero, I think it's called. Or,
Monero's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But so those are way more encrypted and
they have Bitcoin and Cardano.
But Cardano is not. It's not like that at all.
It's not encrypted at all, basically at all relative to these others. But relative to these others.
Yes. There's no layers of protection at all.
So
because that's not the point of it. And which is why they advertise it as, oh, it's more environmentally friendly because it doesn't use as much since it doesn't have as much protection, it doesn't use as much power.
Electricity and power.
Electricity, right. Exactly. So they're like, oh, it's environmentally friendly, but it's like it comes at a cost of your data being just sold to, Goldman Sachs and all these other hedge funds so that they can speculate on things. And there's just less privacy. So it's
that's so okay. So one of the points you just made in terms of what's his name? Gertzel. How do you say his name?
Ben Gertzel.
Gertzel again is it sounds like something you also said right here that UNICEF has said as it regards education. You said that it is striking to read that UNICEF doesn't believe there will ever be enough money to help all of the children in the world receive a traditional classroom education. Therefore, it's better to invest and scale virtual reality education, a rather pessimistic take on the Children's Fund arm of the United Nations. UNICEF Innovation Fund has virtual reality education programs in Chile, India, Nigeria, and Ghana. But the actual quote, for some reason, I did not highlight that. I wanted to read what the guy actually said, the woman.
I think I have it right here.
Yeah, please. What did they say? Yeah,
so
what did they say?
This is the direct quote from UNICEF, which is a children's, funding arm of the UN.
Since I was a kid, they've been doing it since I was a baby. They've been running it anyway.
Yeah, they've been running the scam for a long time. I'm just gonna be frank, but so they said there will never be enough money allocated in the budget, qualified teachers, or places in schools for the population we have. Therefore, emerging technologies like virtual reality allow us to leapfrog these problems and offer the hope of a more affordable, scalable, better quality education.
So again, all right. So
that's a direct quote from them.
So again, there's no material help coming. There's no power coming. There's no political power coming. There's just virtual reality education or, virtual. So how does this relate to what you've been saying so far about blockchain and these crypto folks? Yeah. So
a lot of these, the virtual reality learning and stuff, that collects your biometric, that collects data as well. So if you have these goggles on and you're doing things they can see where your eyes are, looking or what, your heart rate, or just, there's a lot of information that they can collect, your emotional responses. So all of that data is very valuable. And especially since they want to put it into this AI that's going to be, going into the AGI or the to serve the robots essentially, that are going to be, that they're trying to make it's like they're transhuman, I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory or whatever, but they really do want to do this stuff, where it's going to serve this AGI eventually, because they want to make it more empathetic. And kids they're very authentic, right? They're not as conditioned as adults or everybody else. So they have more authentic reactions, and they're more human than the rest. So it's very powerful data for them to harness in order to feed into this AI. And it's just that just makes me so sad, and then you just see these kids, in refugee camps and stuff with the virtual reality goggles, and they're in a refugee camp.
We're not going to bring you a home. We're not going to bring you, resources. We're going to bring you virtual reality goggles that you can become the natural resource that we use to feed AI that is going to be used to further surveil, suppress, and replace you.
Yes. Yeah. Damn. And no one's paying attention to it because who's really paying attention to what's going on in these different refugee camps or in these like instant network schools or like just whatever it may be? It just, no one's really looking at that and thinking that this is how it's being used, because who's paying attention to these populations? These are displaced people. These are people who have lost their homes, who have nothing, and they're being experimented on like in mass scale for this. And it's coming as like this, oh look, like they're these philanthropists want to do this stuff, and it's like, but everything is to collect data, like that is the goal, because it is going to feed this new stream of revenue. And it's like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, I mean, really, I mean, it is. That's almost the only real question to ask at this point. You mentioned this EON, what I was, as I read it, calling Eon Reality, and you which is one of the companies involved with this virtual reality training.
Yes.
In
Ethiopia.
In Ethiopia. And
Yeah.
in fact, you write here to one of the points, again, where we started, you say here, Eon Reality is now extracting data from training Ethiopian workers the same way they helped gas companies extract oil from the ground, the common denominator being profit. So when, again, I'm as a crypto hater, and starting from the macro, I'm saying, the social relationships are not changed by new technologies. So the relationship of extraction, in this case from Ethiopia, natural resources and profit, isn't changed because they introduce a new blockchain technology or cryptocurrency or virtual reality, or none of those are going to change the relationships, because there's no political power shift. There's no change in that at that point. So please elaborate, or
definitely. So I was like, it's like data's the new oil, right? So of course, like these companies that used to work with oil companies are now moving into this like virtual reality learning and, you know, augmented reality and just pretty like, what is it, Internet of Things, and just they're moving, you know, like they're moving into this new realm, and it's like you don't really think about it because it's a lot. it's a lot, and it's very sneaky. And it's like the propaganda is very deep, you know, even people that you would normally don't fall for that kind of propaganda are not seeing it, because unless like it's explained to you in a certain way, you wouldn't be able to see the connections, because you would just think everything's happening, you know, separately, and it's not really related. But then when you look at the money connections, which is why it's so important to look at like the finance aspect of it, and then it's like, oh shit.
Because you actually say that Eon is connected to, or they helped Aramco.
Aramco, Boeing, BP. So they're connected to all of those. And now they're teaching the Ethiopian workforce to be more productive members and to contribute to the Ethiopian economy.
Man.
Yeah. It's a little, and it's not even just that. Like they want to do, one of the guys, what's his name? Michael Rubin, who was part of the CPA, like when, during Iraq, where he was like a political or advisor, when they went over there and took over Iraq illegally, immorally, all of that. And so he wrote this article recently talking about how, the Pentagon should merge or should partner with the Congolese military in order to, so the U.S. essentially should invest in like the biometrics and identity documentation on the Democratic Republic of Congo side. You know, just to help them, because they don't have they only have paper IDs and stuff, and terrorists can, we have a problem with ISIS. So yeah, we need to partner with the Congolese military, and it's like,
and give them new IDs.
Who are you? Yeah, and also you were involved in Iraq, and you think that you can speak on this? Like, no, I don't.
That is his authority. That is what gives him the right. You destroyed Iraq. That's what puts you at the top of the list when they want to figure out what to do in the Congo. And we just need a new ID. Again, like, you don't need control over your resources. We don't need Lumumbas. We just need new IDs.
You don't need clean water. You just need a bank account. You don't need infrastructure of any sort, or
a bank account.
Yeah, you need a bank account, and please register to this Cardano blockchain.
But
We'll take your
Sebs,
picture, your biometrics, and yeah, you're set to go.
but Sebs, all this down talk, people will think it's crazy, but they didn't read the last, what I believe is, the last section of your essay here, which is titled so beautifully, Crypt Pink Tide in Latin America.
Yeah.
So that sounds like some positivity, a pink tide, right? That's got to be good, right? That's,
you would think.
and your first sentence is in June, in that section is in June 2021, Twitter's Jack Dorsey vocalized his support of Project Mono, a group of Ethiopian-based entrepreneurs who want to get the Ethiopian government to consider mining and storing Bitcoin.
Yeah.
This was
That's
several.
alarming.
I was especially
like
after
Jack
we
Dorsey, like what?
So let's start there. So Twitter, Jack just bought Tidal. So Jack Dorsey has control of music, and now he wants, I guess, Bitcoin in Latin America. Yeah. And what Jack wants has to be good for the world, right? I mean, he gave us Twitter.
He gave us Twitter. Yeah.
So what's going on here?
So he's kind of in support of this. He wants them to incorporate it into their central banking. Essentially, he wants it to be. He's in support of it completely, and he's like, yeah, like all these young Ethiopian entrepreneurs. Look, it's grassroots. Like these local people want it. And so that's how it's being advertised too. A lot of it, even though it's coming out of like Silicon Valley or like Colorado or MIT or Harvard, Cambridge, it's like, no, not at all. It's like, it's and Hong Kong too. Hong Kong's a big one. And that's not a demonization of China. It's specifically Hong Kong, which is like, CIA, MI6 central, not really, connected to, not that China doesn't have its problems either, but specifically Hong Kong is very much in this realm.
So Dorsey is trying to get Ethiopia to adopt Project Mono, which is Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But
it's a group of people.
I'm sorry?
It's a group of people that have been advocating for Bitcoin, to get the Ethiopian government to incorporate it, like to mine it, to make it legal, to make it a part of kind of like what the Tanzania, the lady's doing down there.
In short, because at least among other things, if you've already invested in Bitcoin, that would increase your stock value and the value of the coin. So you'll make money off of that. But then, as you write,
coincidentally, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, so the Cardano guy, the Hoskinson, right after El Salvador legalized it, he reached out to the president of El Salvador, and he's like, "Oh no, like Cardano is much better fitted to for the development aspect, for philanthropy. Through it's a blockchain that's better fitted for philanthropy, essentially, is what he's saying." And he's like, "Yeah, you should incorporate this." So it's like so obvious. And then right after that, it was like, it was like Panama, Argentina, Mexico.
Right here, Panama, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, Paraguay, all drafted legislation to adopt cryptocurrency. And then, as you write, echoing the sentiments of Rockefeller Foundation and UNICEF, CEO of Paxful, Ray Youssef, who just recently went to El Salvador as part of a Bitcoin delegation, said, quote, "The future of philanthropy lies in blockchain technology," end quote. So meaning what? That because theoretically it's more encrypted, that more people will want to give because they can do it in more secrecy. But I thought one of the points of philanthropy was so that it would be known, at least to the local governments you are involved in, to get your taxes back, so that you could basically get all of it back and make it disappear. I thought the whole point was so you can make it disappear so you don't pay. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe that's the point. Philanthropy is meant to make money disappear so you don't pay taxes on it. So this is probably, I'm sorry, I just talked my way into understanding. Yeah, I got it. Okay, my bad. There it is. It does make sense for them to do that because it helps them get away and not pay taxes. That's deep.
It is very deep. They're trying
it just takes me sometimes several reads.
No, it's like, it's for me, like it took, I don't even know like how many hours of Alison McDowell I was listening to, where I'm like, hold on, like, what is that? Like writing it down, like, oh my God. And then, because I like to look at like the geopolitics and finances of things a lot as well. And she does that too. And it kind of just blows your mind once it starts to kind of click. And you're like, oh my God, what are these people doing? Like and it's all being done under this guise of like, we're trying to make it. We're trying to make the humanitarian sector more effective.
More effective.
More equitable. More equitable. But the way that they use the word equity is like you're you are a product. Like you are us, because that's what equity is, right? Or it's normally when you're talking about it in like the financial sense.
Sure, it's
stocks, like
financial product. That's right.
Yeah. So
it's an asset. They're turning us all into assets. Yeah. And if you're just, poor in a village somewhere, you might not be an asset. But if you're poor in a village with VR on, there you become an asset, and you don't have to be taken out of your poverty. I'm sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, and then you can code for the developed world that needs to run on this AI, or that will be running on on the AI. You can code, and it's literally like sweatshop coding. Like I think that's what Alison McDowell called it. It's like it was so perfect. I'm like, that is literally what it is. It is. It's like,
so again, we're not changing the social relationships we get rid of, which would get rid of sweatshops. We're just moving sweatshops from producing maybe tennis shoes as much and now producing VR or something else.
Yes, but using VR to train these people that are going to be more effective. Like, well, that'll be like more in the education aspect of it. But yeah, essentially, whether it be with gestural coding or the programs they have in Rwanda where the refugees can like make money by learning to code certain things. I'm not in that world, so I don't really know the technicalities of it, but I'm just kind of looking at it as like, okay, like this is what they're saying they're doing. And then I talked to some of my friends that actually do know a lot about crypto or blockchain or mining and stuff. And they're like, okay, like this doesn't make any sense, like hold on a second. Like, why are they doing it like this? Like, and it's like, and they're targeting kids. And they're targeting, and then specifically displaced people and refugees, like those kind. Because the instant network schools that I think you mentioned, or I did write a section on that. Yeah, where so right now in Mozambique, there's been a lot of issues with insurgency, right? And there's been about 700,000 displaced people from Mozambique alone in the last 3 years. And so they just launched this like new instant network school that they're going to try on like 9,000 kids. And all these schools are on tablets, right? So because they have to get all of your data, like that's very important. They have like these coordinators that check everything. Like everything has to be pretty much put like in writing or in like on the tablet itself. Because if they don't have that data, then they don't have anything to give to their investors. For the social impact bonds. That's what they're called. Like they're development bonds and social impact bonds specifically. And this is coming out a lot from the University of Chicago School of Economics. Yes. Oh yes. Yes.
Hey, again, for me, the smoking gun, so to speak, of the nonsense of crypto as a revolutionary tool is when pro-Bitcoin, pro-cryptocurrency supporters use Milton Friedman, as they often apparently do, as I was learning, to promote it because he apparently said the future is e-cash before he died, and that cryptocurrency allowed for a freedom from government oversight and regulation.
Yeah.
But he couldn't. I mean, he is literally the architect of these neoliberal policies that are destroying the world. And people talking about the Chicago School of Economics. Oh my God, that connection right there. So you just added, like, if I had the smoking gun, you just given me the smoking cannon or rocket launcher or or drone, I guess I should say, in terms of the analysis today.
No, it's true. And they track everything, right? So it's like, and the thing is, they can get the data to the individual level. It won't be like, oh, this school is doing this well. No, it's like to like the individual. So it's even better for them as far as like investment and stuff, because it's like, okay, like who's more likely to improve? Like who isn't too broken that they can be fixed, or they'll go along with what we tell them, and who isn't. So it's like, so if someone's not going along with it, go ahead.
This INS, this instant network school in Mozambique that you write about here, you write that the INS program, set up in May 2014, is a joint initiative with UNHCR. What is that?
like the UN's refugee
human. Yeah.
it's like
Anyway,
displaced people, or displaced
right.
persons and like refugee.
But
It's like it's part
yeah,
of the UN, but they deal with like refugees and stuff specifically.
we're human something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I got
Yeah.
it. You got it. Yeah. But the one that really stuck out to me is that so it's a joint initiative with UNHCR, and then you said here Vodafone.
The telecom is huge. That's what they're doing in Tanzania with Cardano. Because
I was going to say, please, because I don't know if U.S. citizens will know Vodafone. I don't know. Is it used here at all? I'm not even sure if it's here.
I think it's like Africa, Europe.
Yeah, usually it's around the world.
England. Mm-hmm.
But I saw that. I said, look at this nonsense here. This is definitely a hustle.
They have, but get this though, they have these programs, like they have these tablets and this type of like education in like urban areas in South Carolina, like Oakland, right? So they do try it out, like a little bit, in areas
in little internal colonies to the United States. They do the same thing. That is
with the tablets and stuff. And all of this stuff, like they've been investing in this for a long time. Because now they're like, oh yeah, because of COVID, blah blah blah. And it's like, no, you've been planning this for a long time.
That's right.
Don't say that. Like that's don't. It's not. You've been doing this.
You've been doing this because because you said this INS thing is 2014.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get that. So all right. So I just to start to close here for us, for my end. We don't have to end here, but I just want to make sure. So because just to bring it back to where we started, you write here at the end of your piece here. I will end with this. I will end this with a quote by Charles Hoskinson from the 2021 Blockchain Africa Conference, where he espoused the misguided notion that African nations collectively are not poor. They are in a situation where they have tremendous potential and real wealth, but that wealth is inaccessible due to bad systems and difficulty globalizing. Hoskinson has a fundamental misconception of why African nations are in their current state if he believes it has anything to do with their inability to globalize. This comment is indicative of someone who does not understand the repercussions of hundreds of years of colonialism, intentional underdevelopment, neoliberal policies, and inhumane austerity, and corruption from within and outside the nations. If he cannot comprehend and recognize these factors, he is in no position to be part of the solution, and Cardano blockchain is a threat rather than a tool for liberation, end quote.
Yeah, I meant that. I meant that. And in that video that I linked on the article, he even says he doesn't really care about the difference between proof of work versus proof of stake blockchain. Like those are just minor details. He says that. It's like
and so again, he's saying it doesn't matter how well or not your tech is encrypted.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. These people need to be banked. The unbanked need to be banked. Like screw that they don't have water or something, or like just a plethora of things that they need to just live, but we need to put them on this blockchain with Singularity Net, and that's going to be what helps. That's going to be what gets them out of the situation that they're in. They haven't globalized.
So forgive me if I'm putting you on the spot here, and you can obviously respond how you like. But for my selfish, petty concerns, in the context of Black United States, of African people here in the United States, when Black leadership or Black pop celebrity is saying not blockchain, well, blockchain, but Bitcoin is the solution to our economic inequality woes. If they were to watch this discussion and read your article, would they be able to say, or to what extent would they be able to say, Bitcoin isn't Cardano, Bitcoin isn't on that INS program, Bitcoin isn't she's talking about Africa. She's talking about Latin America. We're talking about Black people here. Mm-hmm. We can get on Bitcoin and do something maybe they can't do. And then maybe, we'll take care of ourselves, or maybe we can then get big enough to help them. I don't know what the argument might be, but to what extent do they or do they not have an argument in saying Bitcoin is not Cardano, Bitcoin is not these other ones?
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to worry about this.
At the end of the day, like, isn't foreign policy going to always come back home? Like, aren't the chickens always going to come home to roost? Like, hasn't that happened? Whether it be with this quote unquote domestic terror that's laws that are coming into play now, even though like the domestic terror laws have been targeting like specifically Black people in the United States for a long time. So it's not new to maybe certain people. Maybe it's new to other people, but but just in general, doesn't foreign policy always come back to bite you in the butt? And also, as like a human being, why don't you give a shit about other people that are
I'm trying to get paid? And if Jack Dorsey's on Bitcoin, is then because sort of part of my question is Bitcoin, safer in this regard in terms of data collection, or to what extent would they be able to say, look, they're not taking my data because it's protected, it's encrypted, it's private, and they're not on this Cardano stuff. So
Bitcoin is not that. Even though it is proof of work, it is one of the least. It is one of the less safe proof of work Bitcoin, like cryptocurrencies. Yeah, as far as like from the proof of work goes, it is one of the least safe as far as like you being protected. So same with Ethereum. And that's like something that because I do have a couple of friends who do mine, crypto, and they've sent me like a bunch of articles, and they've like I've talked to them for a while, trying to like understand, because I'm not trying to come at it from like a right anyone who's
the
doing
she's not the hater.
Yeah, you're the hater. But at the same time, it's like if you're not going to acknowledge these things and let your like your odd, like these they're crypto hustlers. Like there are these hustlers who are kind of are promising the world to people and not really telling them the other side of it. So
look, to be clear, like I've had people tell me, look, if one friend of mine said, look, if you have money to invest and can risk speculating and playing the market like you would invest in anything else out there, take a shot. You might, on an individual level, invest in one of these crypto things and make it big.
Yeah, but that's random. Like that could be.
And that's my point.
Like, yeah,
and
it's like
that is different. That's right.
Nothing. Like that, to me, that doesn't mean shit. Like
that's
I'm sorry.
Exactly right. No, I mean that's my point. And that's sort of what he was trying to say, I think, or I'm interpreting it. And he's trying to simply say, like, but if you're gonna, this is not an argument for revolution.
No, it's like, yeah, you could win the lottery. Like, why don't you play? Yeah, let's play what is it, Powerball, whatever.
That's right.
You might
win.
Right. I had a friend who blah blah blah. It's like, okay, like doesn't and so what? It doesn't mean that's going to help everybody.
Imagine that. My economic freedom plan is that we all play the lottery.
Right.
And now pay me
play the keto.
Pay me $89.99 for my seminar.
Yes.
On how to invest in the lottery.
Exactly. I got you.
And we'll get rich. I got
Black
you.
capitalism. We got you.
We got you.
We need buying power. That's what we need.
That's it. There it is. Listen, Seb Solomon, thank you very much. Yeah. Again, I want to thank you for the methodology, not only of your work, but of the practice of saying, look, I saw you trying to say something. I might have something that can help. It damn sure did.
I
and
saw
reaching
that,
out.
And I was like, I saw that you were that segment that you guys did, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I was like, this is exactly, I was like, I got to send him this because this is exactly how I've been feeling. And it was just nice to like, to see someone else say it in the way that you were putting it. And I just thought that was really, I sent it to several friends as well. And I was like, hey, yeah, like you should watch this. I was like, I think he puts it really well.
Well, I appreciate that. I want to encourage people to we'll, again, link to it in the show description below. Make sure that you read this piece, because to me, I'm seeing this as sort of a jumping off point, what you've written here. There's so much to further investigate. I have to learn so much more, and I actually want to get into this. So the rabbit hole is opening. Here we go. Here we go, everybody.
Right. I'm sorry if it was a lot of like jumbled up stuff. It's kind of hard to like, because there's so many like layers to it and factors to it. It's kind of
that's what I mean. It's great.
Yeah. So we'll definitely have to.
No, we got to keep doing this. We'll have many more segments. Hopefully, have you back many more times. I mean, this is because again, I know you're.
I think it's really important. Like, I think it's like it really like it breaks my heart. Like when I don't know. It's just especially with the refugee camps and like you just. It's like on a human level, like it really it doesn't sit well with me. So I feel like more people should kind of see what it is I think it's important. Yeah.
Couldn't put it better myself. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
So thank you very much again. As we say about Fred Hampton, as he used to say, we'll say peace to you because we know you're willing to fight for it. So peace to you, Seb Solomon. Thanks again for joining us and bringing this work to us. We can't wait to get some more. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Again, shout out to Seb Solomon for coming through when dropping that. I mean, you got to read this. You got to read what she's written here, and we got to keep it going and working these conversations into the broader work we're doing here at BPM and elsewhere. And there it is. So I want to thank her again for joining me, and thank all of you for checking this out this morning. Again, a very happy 74th birthday and many more to Assata Shakur. And big ups to all political prisoners and those who support and fight for them, as we will continue to do here. And so let's keep it moving. Stick around with Black Power Media. So much more here, so much more on the way. I will be back Monday morning for I Mix What I Like Live, where we will pick up a whole bunch of got some stuff lined up. It's gonna be dope. So make sure you're here to get the week started, holding us down for the Remix Morning Show, which will be next Tuesday, of course, on Black Power Media Monday. So anyway, like Fred Hampton used to say to you, we say peace if you're willing to fight for it. We weren't live today, so definitely
put it in the comments.
And I'll check them, and we'll be back and get into it later on. So peace, everybody. Like Fred used to say, if you're willing to fight for it, catch you next time at I Mix What I Like. Peace. I mix what I like, what I like, what I like, what I like. What I like, what I like, what I like, what I like.